My wife and I, we own 4 rental properties. We got 8 units. We got 1 vacant. And it's been a struggle, to say the least, to fill it. We've lowered the rent. We've lowered our requirements just a little bit. We spoke to different investors and they told us to consider Section 8. Now, I've always strayed away from Section 8. I didn't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole just because of all the horror stories I've heard before. After doing some research, I'm starting to consider it. If you are a real estate investor or an aspiring real estate investor, this video will help you out. Let's talk about the pros and cons of Section 8. This is Journey to the Bag. So let's do bad news first. Let's talk about the cons. So you all heard horror stories about tenants that have Section 8 and they tear the unit up because they don't have to pay the rent, so they don't care as much about the unit. And yeah, that might be a thing. But I've also had issues where tenants that pay still tear the unit up. Tenants will be late, tenants won't pay at all, and they'll still tear the unit up. It costs money regardless. I'm starting to think that it might not even matter. Con number 1, bureaucracy, paperwork. You gotta fill out all this paperwork with the city, with the housing authority, get registered with the housing authority, fill out all the forms that it takes in order to get this process even started. Just the process of getting certified for Section 8 can be time consuming. Number 2, you got strict inspections and regulations. So the property has to meet a certain standard based on whatever the housing authority has. So they're gonna come in and they're gonna inspect the property and you're gonna have to tick off all the boxes. Any issues that they have during the inspection is gonna have to be fixed, or else you can't even accept a Section 8 tenant. This could cost you more time, more money, just to get everything ready in order to even be allowed to rent to a Section 8 tenant. Another con, you got limitations on the lease and the amount of rent you can charge. You have to check in, do my favorite thing, your due diligence, and check and see what are the limits on the rent based on the number of rooms or whatever it may be, and what are the limits on the terms when it comes to your leasing agreement. A lot of the times, the rent is determined by the housing authority and it can be under the market rent. So just because you thinking something is worth $1,600 or $2,000, the housing authority might say, nah, we'll give you $1,400. Now, if you made it past that, let's talk about the good, the pros. Guaranteed money. Number 1 pro of Section 8 is the government will pay the rent, or at least a portion of it. As long as the tenant remains eligible, the government will pay a majority of the rent, or sometimes all of it, and the tenant might be responsible for a portion. But that right there reduces the risk. So you're reducing your risk of having late payments, missed payments, and you're gonna get a guaranteed check. At the end of the day, you gotta pay the bills. Number 2, long-term tenancy. Typically, somebody that signed up for Section 8, they're not hopping from place to place to place. They're looking for a long-term stay. So if you got a long-term, stable tenant that's there, taking care of your property, living in the property, you're getting a guaranteed check from the housing authority, you're in good shape. That sounds like a win-win. The next pro, you're getting assistance from the housing authority when it comes to screening your tenants. In a previous video, I'll drop a link to it. We got scammed. We got scammed by a tenant using false employment records. We almost got scammed twice because our previous management company, no longer employed, almost fell for the same scam twice. If you got the housing authority behind you, tenants are screened and registered, verified. So there's less likelihood of you having somebody with falsified information. It just adds another layer of security when it comes to screening. My last pro, even though I alluded to the inspections as being a con, they can also be looked at as a pro. If you're having to do inspections on a regular basis, that is going to help with preventative maintenance. You might be able to catch a minor issue before it becomes a major issue. That's gonna save you money in the long run. At the end of the day, I've had good and bad. Tenants that pay on time never give you any trouble. Tenants that don't pay give you all the trouble in the world. It doesn't matter if they're on Section 8 or not. You shouldn't look at them any differently, honestly. As long as you're getting paid what you need to be paid in order to pay your bills, then I say go for it. If you like this video, hit the like button, share it with other investors, aspiring investors. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification. Remember, the world is yours. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace. I woke up feeling like a champion today, so I had to dress like one. Shout out to Messi in Argentina.